Yes, we could have beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It didn't happen. It is what it is. You move on. Maybe it's the player in me. It's that one snap and clear. You got to get ready for the next week. All right, nobody cares about last week now because you got the Atlanta Falcons right in front of you. At home, go out there, handle business, be 6-5. Get this Broncos country fan base going again. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Phil, I'm going to be very upset with you if they lose this next game.
Here we go again.
Because 2 weeks ago, I gave you a deal. Would you take 1-2 over the next 3 weeks and guarantee yourself a winning record heading into week 12?
Yeah, you did.
And you said no. You ripped it up in my face. You ripped up the contract in my face.
I did.
You threw it at me.
I did.
Said, no, we're going to try to go 2-1. Well, they better win this football game. and they're favored to do it. They're favored to do it. It's a look. Atlanta's a good team, but this is you're playing at home. They should win this football game.
Well, yeah, they should, and that's why I ripped up the contract because you probably can you can beat Atlanta, but why are we settling for that? We had an opportunity to beat the Chiefs, and I was ready to say, "Ha ha! I told you so."
Oh,
Zach.
dude, you would have had the biggest victory lap. You really would have.
But if I would have signed the contract in our make-believe scenario, that would have never happened.
Correct.
We would have never had that situation or that opportunity to win the game. So that's why I had to rip the contract on you, young grasshopper.
Oh, you better be right. You better be right. Well, I think I'm already right. Even if they win, that's the 1-2. But if they don't, I'm telling you.
If they don't, I'm blaming Sean Payton.
Well, Sean Payton coached a pretty good game on Sunday.
Sean Payton has coached a couple good games. All right, you had the Panthers game. All right, then you had he coached all right, Zach. I know it's a bad game,
the bad team.
But he did his job.
Yeah,
right. He did his job, and then you had it was a bad game against the Baltimore Ravens all around.
Yep.
Coaching wise, offensively, defensively, the players, it was just a bad game, but they all bounced back. They all bounced back from the coaching staff to the players against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they had an opportunity to win. It was there for them. And Sean's starting to get in his bag of tricks, his bag of goodies. And where does it start? Being able to do play action. All right, you're seeing Bo Nix under center a lot more these days, getting his tight ends involved. That's what Sean Payton wants done. All right, that's where Sean Payton excels. His offense excels when you're under center and you have that, hey, we can run the ball, we can pass it. It goes hand in hand. It's mirroring each other. And it can be successful if you have the right players to do it with and if Bo Nix continues to develop in the right way.
Well, he's checking that box, which is the most essential for me is his continued development. And I'm excited to see him again. Like that's kind of where I'm at with Bo specifically. It's like I can't wait for this weekend to see Bo Nix in Chapter 11 of this story. Now, the loss this past weekend, like, we don't know the future, but it may cost the Broncos a playoff appearance.
It could.
It may. And if you're Alex Forsythe, you are just praying you don't miss the playoffs by a game.
The football gods. You're like, come on, please help me out.
Yeah. So let's talk about the playoff probability. We've been doing this segment every Tuesday, going back to last year, and did it for years beforehand in middays. It's just checking in on the playoff probability. It's not an exact science. This is the New York Times working with The Athletic and 100,000 simulations after collecting every data point possible in the game of football. And the Broncos, if you remember, last week had a 49% chance to go to the NFL playoffs. After the loss, it went to 43%. So it didn't kill them.
No, it didn't.
It didn't kill them. And some of this stuff is baked in of like Kansas City's supposed to win that game, according to the simulation. So it didn't collapse their chances. But what also helped is the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and that's who is right next to the Broncos in the playoff standings. And also another big one, and there was really two this past weekend, the Indianapolis Colts lost to the Buffalo Bills.
Thank you, Josh Allen.
You're welcome. But those two losses, like, that's who the Broncos in Broncos country should be rooting against here over the next month and a half or so. It's rooting against the Colts, rooting against the Cincinnati Bengals, and also, when possible, and I think it's a little bit less relevant than the Colts and the Bengals, but rooting against the Chargers as well.
And all that's possible, and you definitely want to root against everybody, but you got to handle business.
That's right.
Right? You got to win games. You have to win enough games. You got to at least go 9-8. 9-8 could get you in with what's going on with the Bengals, what's going on with the Colts. Teams like that is the reason why you could probably go 9-8 and find a way in. But let's just win enough to be at least 9-8, hopefully win another one to have 10-7, and put yourself in the best situation to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and that was really at the heart of why I offered that deal. It's not to, accept losing. It's to have a winning record going into the final stretch of the year, week 12. And that's the old, and I know there's an extra game there, but that's like the old last, leg of the race is those last 4 games in the old traditional 16-game schedule. But they got to win this one. They got to win this one at home. It's that simple. And how their playoff probability swings with a win or a loss, pretty wild this week. It's pretty wild this week. If the Broncos win on Sunday versus the Falcons, their playoff probability spikes from the current state of 43% all the way up to 56%.
We're back in business.
Back in business. Should the Broncos lose on Sunday to the Atlanta Falcons, their playoff probability takes a nosedive down to 32%. So currently at 43%. And then think about the gulf between 56% likelihood you go to the playoffs in a win, 32% likelihood in a loss. It's a huge football game.
So pretty much losing is not an option for this week, this Sunday. You have to win this game. All right, and hopefully the Broncos are up for this task, and I think they are. I think that people are saying, hey, going through that heartbreak of a game, it can hurt you. Yeah, it can hurt you if you're an older team, like James said yesterday. But this is a hungry team. It's a younger team that has everything to prove and nothing to lose. Nobody expected the Denver Broncos to win 9 or 10 games this year.
Yeah.
Or the odds makers had them at 5. And so for the Denver Broncos, it's like throw every haymaker you have. All right, you go out there and give it your all every single game. One, you guys are younger, and you can do that. You can outlast people because you got the young legs. You got that juice. But 2, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. All right, and Bo Nix is playing great football, and he's only going to get better. That's the scary thing about it. You got Bailey out there that's doing some good things. Troy Franklin, hopefully he can turn the corner. Cortland Sutton's having a great connection with Bo Nix.
Yeah,
right?
It's his best 3-game stretch, really, it feels like, in years.
The offensive line is holding up.
Yep.
They're one of the best in the NFL right now. So everything is coming together as long as this team sticks together and stays together, and it starts with the defense. Coach Vance Joseph getting that defense ready every single game. You're going against the Atlanta Falcons. You have a chance. You have an opportunity in front of you to get after Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins does not move well. He moves like an old man.
Yeah.
Get after him.
Yeah. What an opportunity. The way that the Broncos are rushing the passer this season. And, again, just to remind our listeners, this coming weekend, you're rooting for the New York Jets. You're rooting for Nathaniel Hackett this weekend to beat the Colts.
Jets, Jets.
And you're rooting for the Chargers. And I actually went through the exercise with the simulator. What helps the Broncos the most? Because I said, when possible, root against the Chargers. Well, the Chargers are playing Cincinnati. It's more beneficial to the Denver Broncos to actually root for the Chargers this weekend to beat Cincinnati, because the Chargers are just a tick above where the Broncos are, and Cincinnati is more on a level playing field. So you want to push their head down the standings. So you're rooting for the Chargers this weekend and Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, and you're rooting for the New York Jets to beat the Colts. Question.
I have the answer.
Question. Yesterday, we were looking at the schedule, and we were talking about Kansas City for obvious reasons, just coming out of that loss in KC.
Yeah.
And we've been saying, well, Kansas City may have nothing to play for Week 18. And that may end up being true. But if Kansas City goes into Buffalo this week and beats the Bills, that's the last, and it's under a field goal spread. So it's looking like a coin flip game between two really good teams. If they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, their schedule, they're going to be favored in every game, and they could try to run the table. They could.
You think that they have that pride in them to say, hey, you know what? Even though we're in the playoffs, we're trying to three-peat. We need everybody to stay healthy. We still also want to go undefeated for the whole entire year and playoffs and win the Super Bowl?
No one's ever done it. The Patriots came close and lost to the New York Giants. And how many games did they win? Was it 18? I think it was 18-1.
The Patriots?
The Patriots when they lost to the wild card Giants. I think it was
18.
Maybe
19.
19.
I think it was 2007.
It was 2007.
Okay, so they won the 16 regular season games. They had the first round bye. So I think they were they 18-1, 19-1? I think it's 18-1. It's never been done, and a three-peat's never been done. Can't you see Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes saying, "We're not scared. We're just going for it."
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I'm bringing it up because they would then play Week 18.
No, it makes sense. I can definitely see Patrick Mahomes wanting to do that. The competitor in him and saying, hey, I want to do something to make me even greater. like I could see Mahomes doing that. I could see Andy Reid saying, I want to do that, but I'm not willing to do that and have somebody get hurt the last game of the year against the Denver Broncos, who are going to try to win that game.
Sure.
And it's here.
Right.
And it's here. So I don't know. I don't see Andy Reid saying we're gonna put our players out there the last game of the year. I just don't see it happening because their goal is a three-peat. Their goal is a three-peat.
Well, that could happen. And Reid could say the most important thing is doing this other thing that's never been done. Not trying to accomplish two things that have never been done at once, but, and this is relevant. Well, I don't know how relevant it is, but we have one example to draw from, and it was Belichick and Brady. And they played Week 18. They played Week 18. And they had the same decision to make. It's like, what are we going for? And they said, dude, we're going for it. And they played in the final game.
So are we cheering for the Buffalo Bills then? Like, should we cheer for the Buffalo Bills to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs so that this isn't even a problem come the last game of the year?
I think it's a great question you're asking. Should I mean, obviously Broncos country is going to root against Kansas City more oftentimes than not. I would love if Broncos country was pulling for the Bills this weekend.
Here you go.
No, seriously, that's good energy right there. That's good. That's good energy.
Good juju.
But that's a good question. Like, should you be rooting, considering it's their most important game, or not most important, but it's their hardest game left on the schedule? Should you actually be rooting for the Bills this Sunday in Buffalo so that this is not a relevant conversation? Unless I'm sure someone out there saying, no, we want to play Mahomes and Andy Reid. We want to beat them. We don't, but I don't know, man. That'd be a built-in green light if they were resting their guys at the end of the year.
Because what if we need that win?
Exactly.
What if the Denver Broncos need to beat the Kansas City Chiefs to have a wild card berth?
Exactly.
Like, maybe we do need the Buffalo Bills beating the Kansas City Chiefs so we don't even have to discuss this when the time comes.
I'm sure someone out there is disagreeing, but I don't think it's crazy. I think it's relevant.
Hey, I'm all about winning. I'm all about winning, and if it means we have to root for another team, because we have to root for other teams anyway.
Right.
We're rooting for other teams to get beat to help us out. So why not someone go out there and knock the Kansas City Chiefs out to make it easier for us if we need that game?
And rooting against Kansas City comes natural anyway for Broncos country. So unless you're one of these people who are like, I want to play the best, I want Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes and all that, but it could be a relevant conversation in about 2 months if they should go undefeated and make that decision to play Week 18 the same way that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady decided back in 2007. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let me ask you a question. What's the number one thing you think the Broncos need to do in these last 7 games to make a real playoff push where this conversation is relevant in early January, I guess?
There's a couple of things. Defense has to continue to play good. Not good, play great. Give the offense opportunities. Give the offense a chance. All right, Bo Nix is 5-1 now. I jinxed Bo Nix. I'm sorry, Bo. 5-1 when Bo Nix plays turnover-free football. Bo Nix needs to continue to play turnover-free football. If he does that, he's going to always give us a chance to win. The defense will always give us a chance to win.
Yep.
And that's all you can ask for. And then you have to find a way to finish now, Zach. A couple of these games are going to come down to the wire. Can we finally finish the game? Can Bo Nix set us up yet again for a game-winning field goal and we knock it in to win the game? Can Bo Nix have that moment to where he drives us down the football field, scores a touchdown to win the game? Or does it come on the defense to get a key pick? Does Pastor Tan get another key pick? Brendan Jones, does he get another key pick? It's going to come down to us playing great football together, all right, being fundamentally sound and staying healthy. Key, staying healthy, which we've been able to do a good job of. We got to stay healthy down this stretch.
Honestly, man, I haven't even really thought about the health of the team, because when your team is healthy, it's not it's almost like perfect weather. When it's like perfect weather, the weather's not on your mind. It's like a good official. When you got good officiating, you're not thinking about the officiating. Or a left tackle, a good left tackle, you don't think about him because he's just over there.
Well,
I haven't thought about
those
the
players are thinking, like, whoever they believe in, be like, thank you for keeping me healthy. Because it's easy not to thank when you're doing well and nothing's happening.
Right.
That moment you get hurt, you're sitting there saying, man, dang, like I miss it. Dang, I took this for granted. So always give thanks, because you're having the ability to go out there and play something you love to do, man, a kid's game. And if they can stay healthy and they're doing the right things in the building, because it's funny. A lot of my teammates would sit there when we were losing games and say, hey, everybody needs to start doing the right thing. Somebody in this building, in this locker room, is not doing the right thing.
Like not clean living.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hurting us.
Yes. I used to play hoops with a guy where he would like get a roll, like the thing would like toilet bowl around the rim and like drop through or like catch a crazy bounce. Like, that's clean living. That's clean living. But you think about it, what are like the devastating injuries for the Broncos right now? Alex Singleton got hurt early. Yeah. Drew Sanders got hurt in the offseason. I guess is coming back.
His window's open for him to return.
Yeah, we'll see if they actually make that decision. Josh Reynolds banged up, but he should be coming back at some point, right?
Back. Yeah, you would think, unless they know something we don't about his injuries.
Yeah, and outside of that, I mean, I'll mention Quinn Bailey, but that happened early in training camp, and he was going to be slated as a backup. Not that you don't want that depth, but really, this is 2 years in a row where the Broncos have been remarkably healthy.
Knock on wood, McClinchy is back. All right, the offensive line is thriving. All right, and so even for the running backs, usually your running backs get banged up. Maybe because they're not doing well and they're not running enough that they're not getting banged up, but everybody is healthy, which helps your young rookie quarterback out, because now he can continue to develop in the right way and grow together with all the other rookies and all the other players that are going to be back next year. It's a great thing for us, but we have to stay healthy. We have to stay in front of the chains as an offensive unit. And for defense, you got to get a couple big-time turnovers.
Yeah.
Zach Allen has to continue to put pressure on the quarterbacks. Bonito needs to keep trying to get the sacks. Jonathan Cooper, okay, he has gotten paid the bag. Now he needs to go out there and prove why he deserves the money he got. All right, it's just things like that have to go your way, and like we always keep saying, in health, got to stay healthy.
Yeah, got to stay healthy. The Broncos, how about this? According to ESPN's pass block win rate, the Broncos have the number 1 ranked offensive line in ESPN's pass block win rate. And you talk about Bo Nix developing and some of these other situations, like I put eyes on Chicago, through these months, and it's like, and Caleb Williams kind of has a tendency to hold the ball a little extra longer,
man.
Anyway. This goes back to conversations we had in the summer before this journey ever even started. It's like, what would you rather have for Bo Nix given two extremes? Would you rather have an upper echelon offensive line without the upper echelon skill position players, or would you rather have those upper echelon skill position players without the top tier offensive line? And we disagree on a lot, but we agree on some of the fundamentals and the trenches of football, and that's where this game starts and often finishes, as we saw with 1 second left on the freaking clock in Kansas City.
You give me the big boys up front. You give me those big boys up front. My father did something with me when I was young, Zach. All right, and it was when I was young and I was a running back, and I would yell at my offensive lineman, all right, you need a block, all this. We're kids. So one practice, my dad takes all the offensive linemen and puts them to the side. He throws me a ball. All right, puts the defense out there and said, "No, you go ahead and run.
Yeah.
You go ahead and run. Put a quarterback back there. You go ahead and throw.
Yeah.
Stop yelling at these young men.
Yep.
Stop yelling at your offensive linemen.
Yep.
Because you need them."
I love that from your father.
Ever since then, I've never yelled at the offensive line. I don't even get in their face. I don't even think about it. But it made me think, and it made me grow and understand and love up my offensive linemen, because they do so much when it comes to run blocking, when it comes to pass blocking. and you need them, and you need them healthy if you're going to make a run in the playoffs, if you're going to go to a Super Bowl, if you're going to even put up any stats. If Phillip Lindsay goes to the Pro Bowl, that's not just because of me. That's because of those offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And if I could have took them with me, I would have.
I know you would have, Phil. I know you would have.
Come on, baby. I just didn't have enough money.
Time for the press conference.
I had
Bring
Vaughn
them
to
all.
help me out.
Bring them all up to the presser.
Shador's learning.
The offensive line, and it's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect because it's football. But we were on the right side of that conversation because you look at the skill positions around Bo Nix. It's really, in terms of the league-wide scope, I mean, it's pretty lackluster, but that's what will be fun about this offseason. It's not time to have these conversations, but there will come a time that we're going to the offseason, and hopefully everyone is collectively excited about Bo Nix, and it's like, okay, perfect. You can't put the tip of a pyramid on the ground. You need a base. You need those layers that build up to that tip, and so if you get that foundation in Bo, what an exciting offseason it has potential to be.
And he's going to get deeper into the playbook. Sean's going to trust him more. Sean's going to say, okay, now I can start to build off of Bo because I know he can handle more. It's just going to be better for all of us. It's going to be better for Bo. It's going to be better for Sean. Sean's going to be in a better mood next year. All right, the first press conference coming back for camp, he's going to be smiling. He's like, hey, guys, I got my quarterback.
Yep.
We drafted a couple of talented players to go around him, and I don't want to, we're still in the season, but those are the things we're going to be able to talk about next year. But it starts right now with Bo, with the offensive line, and Bo continuing to grow and do the right things. And dang it, keep not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, and Bo Nix is doing a great job of it right now.
He's doing a great job. This is Sean Payton yesterday morning talking about trying to overcome this tough loss and remain focused.
Well, there's a lot ahead. Obviously, we've got 8 games. I mean, I don't know how many games left. So I think this team has been resilient. So the sky isn't falling, relative to our season, the schedule. We're sitting here at 5-5. Obviously, we'd love to have been 6-4 with a win yesterday. But the focus shifts, quickly to the next game. I like the leadership on this team. Someone asked about that yesterday. It's an entirely different team than a year ago. It's tough. It's tough mentally and physically. We've got to have a good week of practice here coming up for Atlanta. Overcoming a tough loss. Listen, that when you talk to the players about that, you tell them that, hey, that's going to happen periodically in your career, and you hope that you have a few of those games that maybe you thought you didn't deserve to win that you did win, and you've got to bounce back either way.
All right, so there's a lot there, but I'd be lying if the thing that didn't stick out to me and really why I wanted to play that clip, because when I heard this, I'm like, that sentence when he said, our leadership this year, he said it's way different than it was last year. We're more mentally and physically tough. Who's he talking about there?
I want to say his veterans that he decided to bring back. I want to say maybe it's Bo Nix. As much as like, hey, Bo is a rookie, he's not playing like a rookie. He's not acting like a rookie. So
you think he's in his mind, and I wasn't thinking about it like that. That's what I'm glad I asked. You think he's thinking about guys who are currently in the building?
Yeah.
I thought when I heard that clip, I'm thinking that he's thinking about someone else who's not in the building anymore.
See, that's an interesting way of thinking, but I think Sean is so stuck in the moment right now that he's like, man, all I care about is the players in this building. There's a reason why I got rid of the bad apples. I'm not thinking about them anymore.
Sure.
And if he is,